welcome. My name is Sarah Tess. I'm going to be doing Reiki on this guy. His name is Titan. He is my horse. He is a little bit spastic sometimes, a little bit dominant, a little bit rude, and I'm going to show you what it's like to work with a horse that isn't the calmest. He can be calm occasionally, but really when I first get to working with him in any aspect, groundwork or even trying to ride, it is always a push and pull with him. And Reiki does really help his anxiety because he's pretty jumpy and he's very hyper aware of everything around him and also of me. So I'm gonna just go ahead and start off this session and we're gonna see how he responds. Every horse is gonna respond a little bit differently, and that's okay. So I actually have him tied up. Normally I don't tie him up because I like to give him the free will to do what he wants to do. But just for this video's sake, I am having him tied up so he doesn't run out of the barn. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I'm just gonna introduce myself by rubbing him, getting him used to me. He's pretty nippy, so I may step back sometimes to just see how he goes. Stop. So we're gonna go ahead and call down Reiki into this space. Reiki is a type of energy that flows through me into him, and he can feel it through my hands. So if you see him going close to my hands, it's because he is interested in the Reiki itself, but he definitely can get in the bubble. Now I'm gonna be a little bit quiet as I do this session. I will talk occasionally, but I will just allow this to be a kind of watch and see what happens, you know? So thank you so much for being here. If you enjoy this, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. All right. No. You might be able to notice right now, he just got a little bit more aware and interested in the Reiki. He is a little antsy, but we're not judging him for that. I initially called down Reiki. When you call down Reiki, you're calling down the energy to come into the space. Back up. And then I invited in healing energy for emotional healing, not only physical healing. Now I think that a lot of his little habits and sometimes his not so nice ways of dealing with things have to do with his emotional state. He can be very anxious. And I don't really know what his past was like before I got him. So he can get pretty spicy sometimes. So right now he is really attracted to my hand that is giving him the energy. And I'm actually gonna go ahead and bring my hands down and give it to him from below. I like to start my sessions by working around his spine and around his face. Now he in particular is very sensitive in the teeth, around the eyes, and around the ears. And then that's just your typical kind of tack area. He's also pretty sensitive on his back as well. So it just depends on the day what we work on. But today, I'm definitely feeling it on his teeth. He's been very mean lately, very food aggressive, and he has just not been the nicest when it comes to biting people. So this is kind of a way to calm his nervous system down and get him to feel comfortable around me. You can already tell that his head is pretty low, so he is slowly calming down. It just takes a little while. I prefer doing sessions that are 30 minutes to 60 minutes long, but 10 can cool him down, get his mind relaxed so that we can then work together in a nicer environment. So I'm going to be quiet for the next little bit and continue to work on him. I do hands-on, or I can hover and be away. It's okay. So it just depends on the horse and what is going on. I like to really breathe through it, which is why I am quiet with it, because when I breathe, the energy moves more smoothly and also more precisely. Okay. Now the cool thing about these sessions is that I can feel the energy in my hands, and if I do a body scan of him, the energy is more potent in certain areas. And I'm going ahead and moving my hand right now. You can't see it, but I'm moving my hand behind his body to navigate where to go next. And it's mainly his upper body. Okay, hi, you're in my bubble. So we're working on front legs, his chest region, head, neck area. Hey, no. Now he does have an eye that is a little bit sensitive, so sometimes he'll walk directly into my hands with the eye that is harder to see out of. Because horses are really in tune with energy, and they do receive healing pretty quickly. With humans, we do Reiki 60 minutes or 90 minutes. Really, you could do, 2 hours if you wanted to really dig deep. But for horses, you really don't need to go much more than 60 minutes at each time that you do a session. And it can last pretty long. Hi. The effects can last for a while. The longer the session, the longer the effects will last. now I'm barely holding on to the halter. I don't want him to feel forced into being in this position. I want him to naturally relax into it. You do see his ears are pretty straight up right now. He's very aware, very alert of the scenario that we're in. The cool thing about this is that you can see his body starting to slowly melt. And simultaneously, horses will start to kind of naturally zone out. It becomes kind of like a meditation for them, if you will. Where they're just releasing, relaxing. Some horses will fall asleep. Hi. Some will just chill out a little bit. Just depends. Now we're at around 11 minutes right now. And he's become much more calm. He's not as nippy as he was when I first got out to the barn. And you can see him kind of melting down. He has one foot kind of placed up just a little. You can tell that the horse is feeling it when they start to have different symptoms. So they may breathe out a big exhale, their eyes may kind of soften, their ears will change, they may swallow or mess with their tongue. And you also could potentially feel or hear gurgles in their belly. They may also put off some gas too, or they could even need to use the restroom. So it just depends, but we aren't really working towards the belly right now, we're more towards the head. So it should be more head related symptoms. Now after a session, they may act a little bit different. They may act a little bit calmer. They may be a little bit hungrier. Back up. Tighten back. Back. Back up. Dude. You don't want to listen? Back. So yeah, they may act a little bit different after a session. They may be a little bit sleepier. They may be calmer, but you can tell actually, hold on. Right now, he's getting pretty antsy. So I'm taking that, go on, you're good. So I take it when he's pretty antsy that he wants to go away in a session, and it has been 13 minutes now, so I undid him. Now, sometimes the horse will come back to you. Sometimes they just need a break. And when I can tell that a horse is getting pretty antsy or a little bit like spicy with their energy, I just kind of pause for a little bit. And I still will put off the energy, but I'll do it from afar. And I'll let the horse decide if the horse wants to come back and have more. So for instance, right now I'm gonna go ahead and just continue to facilitate Reiki, and then he will have the choice to come back to me if he wants to. And if he doesn't want to come back, that's okay. We acknowledge it. It's one of those things, like horses do have free will, and they are going to choose what they want. And if they don't want to have it, they don't have to have it. However, if you're paying for a session, we will try to use the whole time space to have a session, 30 minutes to an hour. And depending how the horse is tied up, it's an easier session. So if you have them hooked up on either side, it is a little bit easier. I had him hooked up just from the front. So that does change that for me. And also if I have the horse just living freely out there, not attached to anything, that also will change the experience too. It allows for more freedom for the horse to come and go as it pleases. And when it feels ready, it'll show back up. And when it doesn't want to be right there with you, then the horse can choose to do so, okay? So he's still feeling it. He's standing literally like 3 feet or less away from me. He's over there kind of snorting, relaxing, he's licking his chops. So for me, that's showing that he doesn't actually want to go anywhere. He just wants a little bit of space. Like he's like an arm width away from me. Now I am gonna back up and give him a little space and see if he wants to come back over here. And if he still doesn't come back to me, then we'll just go ahead and end the session there. But if he wants to come back and have more of the Reiki healing energy, he has the option to do so. And he's still not going anywhere. He's just standing at the edge of the barn, looking, listening, watching just the world around him. But he's pretty relaxed and doesn't seem to be going anywhere. So his ears are facing me. He's listening. He's licking his tongue. And once again, he's not going anywhere. So I take this as a sign that he still wants Reiki. He just isn't wanting to be up close and personal. And that's okay. I'll move the camera so you can see it. So you can see him. He is right here. Let's see if we can get a better shot. Yep. Right there. So I'm actually going to stand right here and give him Reiki on his belly because he hasn't disappeared. We're going to do it on his spine and on his belly at the same time. That's okay. Okay, so that is my sign, my cue that he is ready to be done, and that's okay. So it's just about 20 minutes with him, and this is my horse, so it's a little bit of a different experience than it would be with a client, but he's in a pretty good mood now. So a new symptom of his during or after a Reiki session is actually head shaking. I'm not used to him doing this symptom, so it is just one that I want to bring up. He's been shaking and he does not want to do work, which, you know, it's expected if he has just gotten in a very relaxed state and he's finally melted into the space that he's not going to want to do much. Now, I tried to go on a little walk with him and he was a little bit agitated, which just shows to me that we're working on some of his agitation that already lies in his body. Something that people don't talk about when it comes to Reiki is that actually when someone does Reiki on a human or even on an animal, it's like the energy or the agitation or whatever the person has experienced that they've kind of shoved down and haven't acknowledged can come up to surface, which means some sessions you may actually have someone portraying or like the energy is trying to come out in some way. So like a human may feel a little bit agitated, or an animal may feel a little bit agitated, and then in the day or two to follow, it'll settle down and soften back once the energy has been moved through and out. Now, because we only did a 20-minute session, my guess is that the energy just kind of got up to that lifting space, and then because we stopped, now he's really feeling that energy in the same positions that we left kind of off on. So I'm gonna actually go back and do more Reiki on him for a little bit, and I'm just gonna do it from afar. I'm not gonna be touching him while I do it. I'm just gonna do it while he snacks on some stuff, and I'll just show you what that's like. I'm hoping that we can settle down the head shaking and he'll ground his energy down a bit. So my hope is that we can shift this energy back away from his head, because I was working on his head for quite a while, hoping that we can smooth that out and shift it so it's lower back, more of a rooted and a grounded energy. Now, with humans, a lot of times we'll work at the head and we'll work at the feet initially, and then we'll actually move to one side and then we'll switch to the other. Now with horses, it kind of depends on what's going on. I usually will start with their head and then move to the middle of the spine, and then I'll move to the back, and then I'll move back up, seeing wherever we need to work in the process. So for right now, I'm actually just going to hold space from about, well, I would say the base of his neck into the rest of his body, and I'm going to bring my further hand towards his hip. Right now, you may be noticing that he is cribbing. He's definitely nibbling on things that he should not. This is something that he's had an issue with since we got him. Right now, he's being a little extra. into his body. So the energy that horses and humans feel can be pretty intense. Horses will all act a little bit different. Animals will all act a little bit different. It may make them feel kind of like ticklish. Now I find that it's more ticklish when you're further away from the animal, but if you have connection to their skin or to their body, it is less of a ticklish energy. Now, I can technically be rubbing him and giving him Reiki at the same time. I don't have to stay still, and I also don't have to stay far away from him. But he is kind of over it, and that's okay. But I'm glad he's at least moved away from nibbling the wood that he was next to, and it looks like his head is starting to stop the bouncing, which is good. So that was just about 6 minutes of kind of settling him back down into this earth. And I am actually probably going to rub him on both sides a little bit longer, and then I will also brush him to make sure that he feels connected, safe, happy, and that the energy is not stagnant in any particular area. Okay, now this session was less than 30 minutes in total, but he has settled down and he's starting to just go back to normal habits. But it's almost his dinner time, which is why he's pretty mouthy. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and brush him and then feed him. I'm not gonna work him too hard because I think that this was plenty for him mentally, because it can be very stimulating. So if you are starting to get your animal or even a human into Reiki, it's good to kind of allow yourself to settle in, to not judge yourself. Don't force it on the animal. A lot of times with clients, I'll tell them, you know, we can start with 30 minutes, see how that goes for animals, and then come back and do more, or try starting with 30 minutes, and if the animal receives it well and seems like they're okay to have more, then we'll continue to do that in the same session. So sometimes you have to be a little bit more open with animals and view it as a process, not as a quick fix. So yeah, anyways, I'm gonna go brush him, and I hope that this video was really helpful for you. If you would like to book Reiki with me, I do Reiki in person in North Carolina, and I'm able to also travel to South Carolina. Otherwise, I do Reiki virtually, so I can do it through the video camera. Okay, so if anyone wants to do FaceTime sessions or just video sessions in general, we can do that. So yeah, anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you soon.